Good evening, everybody. Once again, this is the UFC Rio post-fight recap with Senator Thunderheart. And tonight, this event is taking place in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. That is why it's called UFC Rio rather than 134. So, and what a way, what an event to end the summer with a bang. And I mean, this was an excellent event overall. And here we go. Yves Jabquin versus Loveland, and the winner is Yves Jabquin, a split decision. I mean, this fight right there was such an action-packed MMA fight. I mean, it was a mixture of wrestling, grappling, and submission attempts. Flying knees, flying kicks, reverse side kicks, hook kicks, all kinds of different things that were flying. I mean, it was an excellent fight, but it could have gone either way, definitely. But Yves Jabquin really got the decision. And so congratulations, Yves Jabquin, on your victory. And Yuri Alcantara versus Felipe Arantes. And the winner is Yuri Alcantara, unanimous decision. Now, in this fight, it didn't take very long. Erick Silva versus Luis Ramos. And the winner is Erick Silva, TKO. I mean, this fight lasted about 40 seconds. I mean, let's just face it. It just started, measuring each other. And next thing you know it, they were throwing some, techniques like kicks and things like that. But then Erick actually had some answer when he not only threw a left punch first, but he did an overhook right and actually nailed Ramos. Ramos fell down, and that's when Silva went and finished the job and just threw a few more punches, and the referee stopped the fight. So congratulations, Erick Silva, on your 40-second victory. And Raphael Assuncao versus Johnny Eduardo. And the winner is Raphael Assuncao, unanimous decision. Now, Thiago versus David Mitchell. And the winner is Paulo Thiago, unanimous decision. I mean, this was a great performance by Paulo Thiago. I mean, his stand-up was excellent. His grappling was excellent, too. The only criticism I will only have with Paulo Thiago at this point in time right now is that he did not take advantage of the ground and pound. I guess he was basically every time he his takedowns were excellent. That's why he was able to take him down was through the stand up, and his takedowns were excellent. But the thing about it is he kept on trying to just get a submission, but he never really went for it and grounded and pounded. And when he didn't have an advantage, he would let him off the ground and have him stand up, which is okay if you're mostly a striker, but he's a grappler for the most part. So I think he should improve on his ground and pounding game. And I think his camp, that's just between him and his camp, but if I were members of his camp, for instance, I would actually help him work on his grounding and pounding, because that way, if he starts grounding and pounding, he would probably have a better setup for his submissions. And that way, he'll be able to get it, have a better percentage of him getting the submission versus just trying to just simply wrestling and grappling with him. So, but either which way, though, it was a victory. So congratulations, Paulo. And Rousimar Palhares versus Dan Miller, and the winner is Rousimar Palhares, unanimous decision. Let's just face it. He basically Palhares really did a great job in his stand-ups and things like that. Matter of fact, he did so well in the first round that when he actually threw a nice roundhouse to Dan Miller's head, and he went down and he went and pounded him. He actually thought that Herb Dean, the referee, stopped the fight, and he prematurely celebrated. And Herb Dean had to tell him that, no, I did not call out the fight. I didn't call the end of the fight. I didn't push her away. I didn't say stop or anything like that. So I guess the guy assumed that he won the fight because he had him, in trouble, and he thought that the referee, said so. But that didn't even matter anymore, because he finally had a unanimous decision. So congratulations on Palhares on that victory. So that was excellent. All right, and now in this fight right here, Thiago Tavares versus Spencer Fisher, and the winner is Thiago Tavares, TKO. I mean, basically, it didn't even take him too long either. I mean, sure, it started out with strikes and various things like that, but then what happened was too, he finally took him down and had him grounding and pounding him, and then on top of that, Thiago basically just had him, just basically started pounding him, and actually through hammer fists and things like that on Spencer. So, and then he finally hit Spencer to a point where he fell down again, and then he finally finished him off. So congratulations, Thiago Tavares, on your excellent TKO victory. I mean, Spencer is one of the best fighters in that division, and for Thiago to come out and actually dominate him the way he did was just completely excellent. So, and then this fight right here was Louis Kane versus Stanislav Nedkov, and the winner is Stanislav Nedkov from Bulgaria. This is his first UFC debut, but he did very well in the other fights. So and through TKO, and so Louis was definitely outstriking him in the first round. Definitely outstriking him at first, and was doing very well against him. But then Nedkov was also striking back as well. But he finally was able to land an excellent shot to such a degree that it had Louis not only running but so disoriented that he actually hit him while he was still running, and he almost crashed into the fence. But he had his foot. He threw his right foot up to stop it. But finally, Nedkov just had him just pounding him and hit him in the face, and finally finished him off. So congratulations, Stanislav Nedkov, for your excellent TKO victory. And Ross Pearson from England versus Edson Barboza. And the winner is Edson Barboza split decision. I mean, now just like how Loveland and Jabquin had an excellent MMA fight, well, this one went to 3 rounds too in a split decision. But rather than just simply an MMA fight, it was mostly like a kickboxing/boxing kind of fight. But it was an excellent one. I mean, it was very few clinches, very few takedown attempts. And even though when Ross Pearson decided to try to take Edson down, Edson would stop him from doing it. And to be honest with you, Ross was having a good time. That he didn't really give it a shot to really try to take him down. And what's the point? It was a great striking match anyway. So, but it could have gone either way, but it just went to the way of Edson Barboza. So congratulations, Edson, on that victory. And in one of the great events right there, one of the great fights was Minotauro Nogueira versus Brendan Schaub, and the winner is Minotauro Nogueira via knockout. I mean, and I personally thought that Brendan Schaub was good enough to actually get him, but basically the bottom line is experience, despite the age, does work out too, because Minotauro, Brendan Schaub started, getting some good punches in. But then Minotauro finally caught him against the fence with a 1 and a 2 punch that really rocked him, and that's when Minotauro just finally went for the kill. And so Brendan Schaub just went down, he pounded him, and then the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. So congratulations, Minotauro Nogueira, a true legend in MMA world. So the guy who fought in Pride was both the Pride Fighting Championships and the UFC Heavyweight Champion. So congratulations. And in the co-main event, Mauricio Rua versus Forrest Griffin 2 in the co-main event. And this one was, of course, a rematch. And the first time those two fought, it was Mauricio Rua's UFC debut against Forrest Griffin. Both former light heavyweight champions. They went out the first time, and Forrest Griffin beat him via submission. But this time around, it was Mauricio Rua who knocked him out, who knocked Forrest Griffin out. And it didn't take him long either. It was actually a short fight, because what happened was they both started off, striking with leg kicks and things like that. But finally, Mauricio Rua landed some good punches, hit him to a point where he rocked Forrest down, and Forrest just went down. And he went and actually started pounding him and pounding him and pounding him. And then what he did was he started throwing like hammer fists down, a few good hammer fists, to a point where it hit him so hard that it bounced Forrest's head off. I mean, he was with his hammer fist, he was dribbling Forrest's head kind of the same way as LeBron James dribbles basketball. I mean, that's how hard he was hitting him, and that's how Forrest's head was bouncing off the ground too. So not only was Forrest's head getting hit by the hammer fist, but at the same time, gravity itself took over and actually hit his head in the ground. So Forrest was just totally out, and the referee basically stopped the fight and declared him knockout victor. So congratulations on avenging your loss, Mauricio, against Forrest. So excellent right there. And in the main event for the UFC Middleweight Championship, with Anderson Silva champion versus Yushin Okami challenger, and actually this is actually number 2. It was actually a rematch too, but didn't took place in the UFC. They fought each other back in the day where there was Pride Fighting Championship. We're both in Pride. And Okami won via disqualification. When Anderson Silva had his back on the ground, he threw a kick and knocked him out. and I guess they called it an illegal kick. So Okami had a victory over him, but Anderson Silva thought it was pretty much a fluke, and I'm sure anybody else would have thought it was a fluke too, including me. So Anderson Silva, of course, eventually lost to a TKO victory, and he is still the middleweight champion. I mean, Anderson Silva just basically clowned him in that sense. I mean, he just simply moved, and despite the fact that he's strong, he's not fast, he's not agile, he didn't bring a lot to the table, and he tried to hook up Anderson Silva, tried to take him down. Silva was, very patient. He was even in a zen zone when he was just simply holding on and just kept on waiting until he made a mistake, and that's when he was able to get out. And on top of that, too, each time Yushin would try to throw a strike, Anderson Silva just kept, kept dodging it, and basically Yushin just kept wasting his energy, missing punches, and then Anderson Silva was keep on hitting him with precise timing, precise technique, and things like that. And he finally was able to hit Yushin where he went to the ground. The first time, he hit him. Actually, the first time went to the ground, but then Anderson Silva got him up the first time. But the second time, he decided, oh, the hell with it, and he just started really hitting him to a point where he finally had him hurt, and he just finally went for the kill. And the referee told him, that's enough. So once again, Anderson Silva is definitely still champion, still undefeated in the octagon, and now has avenged his loss against Yushin Okami, which probably should have happened the first time when he actually kicked it, but I guess they disqualified him, but it doesn't matter now. And so Anderson Silva is still the champion, still the best pound for pound in the world. Did we expect anything different? I didn't. But also, too, I remember Kenny Florian and Mike Goldberg were talking in the end, and Kenny Florian was making a joke, say, if you probably operated, you'll probably see some wires and everything. Me personally, I think if I would have operated him really deeply, if you would have probably looked, you probably may have seen some flying particles of photonic energy flying around and within him, and maybe even flying outside or something. You may probably see something. A lot of people say he's not human or anything like that, but really, all jokes aside, Anderson Silva is the greatest. He's the best. He's really trained. He just keeps getting better and better each time. So let's just see how many more years he's going to keep going. If he keeps getting better and better, he may just retire with a championship belt. Or he may fight Georges St. Pierre or John Jones or whoever he ends up fighting and really prove how good he is. And so let's see about that. In the event, this is an excellent event from Brazil. The Brazilians were the Brazilian fighters were dominant in that fight from 8-1. So that was excellent event right there. And a lot of people would say, well, the Brazilian fighters had a home crowd advantage. Of course they were going to win. Yeah, that may be proven true and everything, but at the same time, these are world-class athletes. These are world-class fighters. And so, like Mauricio, Anderson Silva, and various other of the Brazilian fighters that fought tonight are all excellent in their fights. So it's more on the lines of the fact that they're skillful and they're excellent in their fighting, more so than the hometown crowd. Because it wouldn't matter where they were at, whether it was going to be Japan, Egypt, didn't even matter, quite frankly. Hometown advantage just gives a little bit of a boost. But at the same time, their fighting abilities really what brought it to the dance and what got them off the dance floor, so to speak. So, in the event, before I get going, I would like you guys just go ahead and basically rate up, subscribe, and add to us if anything, and also comment when you comment as well. And also too, there's a video down there, a surprise video that I have for you guys to see. Go ahead and take a look at it. It's an interview I did with somebody recently, and I'm sure many of you have heard about him. If not, you need to know who he is, because let's just put it this way: this man was MMA before MMA became a mainstream attraction. Let's put it that way. So you guys may like it. In any event, I'm gonna get going. It's been great talking to y'all. It's been great talking about this event. This event was excellent. It's one of the best of the year, in my opinion. So take care, and many blessings to you all. Healing, it is all that is.